the wall cannot be cell. The wall is all poly. So in this case, they introduce lesson study. This actually is a knowledge management tool to manage the curriculum. They don't know how to teach. A group of teachers come together, they discuss a lesson, usually involve a lesson, and identify student learning difficulty or misconception. And then they design some pedagogy to address this difficulty and address this problem, student problem. And then they, one teacher will teach in the class, the other will observe the process. Then you can say that this is also a quality assurance process. You like Japanese product, just put, for example, Honda, Toyota, they have a quite strict quality assurance process. They will test whether in education, lesson study is also a quality assurance process that ensure that the teaching are appropriate before implementing. So lesson study or community of practice, COP, the learning community, this kind of people-based, that means people come together to share the knowledge. And other is Lollipostory, Lolliportal. Lolliportal is, you know portal, the idea of portal. Portal means when you come to work and you turn on your computer and then you discover a web page. That's everything I let you should do. For example, today, any email regarding the principal message or school information. And there's a lot of information from you. It's like Web 2.0. You can put here. And then the digital archive. Digital archive is the one that you store your document. This is related to information management. Involve the taxonomy. So many different, I can see that in your international office, you classify by international fact, you know, China, Canada, American, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, it's classified there. So you can easily find the information of the school there. You can connect it. So these are two main strategies. One is codification, the other is personalization. These two should be used together, but it depends on the nature of your organization. For example, if you're a small school within one campus, then you may choose personalization because people get go to others. But if you're four campus, like Jiayi Daishu University, with four campus, I think if you want to connect the four, you may use codification. It's not easy for people to come together to have a meeting, right? I don't understand. But if you can see that the multinational organization or multinational firm, it's not easy to gather all the staff together to have a meeting. So they use a codification. You use a document, codify the knowledge in the document and share with the others. So this is my research. And another question is, was this knowledge management as enhanced school strategic planning? I have conducted research in this area. Because of the curriculum reform, as I mentioned, and the decentralization from knowledge school-based management, and decentralization dual-curriculum model, and also the marketization by parent choice, I think it's common, same in Taiwan. So the logic of this study is schools are facing competition, and they are going to formulate school plan. It's required by Hong Kong government. But the knowledge gap exists in the plan. Well, this knowledge model can fill address the gap. So I conduct a project in knowledge management. Actually, I will left this CD-ROM for you. You can keep it for those who are interested in knowledge management. And first of all, I identify the critical success factor for school knowledge management. There are three. The first one is leadership to build a clear vision. Are there any clear vision there? And second, are there learning culture to support it? And the first one is ID support. I use multiple regression. Actually, this is a survey. I use questionnaire and to collect data from 10 primary school and 10 secondary school. And then I also make the strategic planning and dependent variables, and I use these three variables to be predicted. So the result is positive. I use factor analysis first to categorize it, because I don't want to go in depth to the research study, but more important is the result. So this is a factor analysis, all the items here. Actually, my PowerPoint here, you can read it. I have published in the Academy, the journal. So it shows that the regression model is significant. Yes, all less than 0.05 the p-values, and so you can see that the beta, which one is the most important predictor for strategic planning? This one.
Sharing culture.
Culture. Sharing culture. Who say that? The respondent, yeah. Yeah. So you already have a give. I mean, who tell the model, who give information to the model, the teacher, the respondent. So you can see that the culture and also the vision is far more important than IT support. People say doing, so any, no problem. We have three.
No, it's okay. I mean.
Okay. I still have 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes.
Leave some time for question
Okay.
or discussion.
Yes, maybe I left some time for you. Okay. Now, this model tells us vision and sharing culture is more important than the IT support. IT support means the computer. People think about doing knowledge management, buy the system here, then we can run it effectively. No, the people problem is important. We need to tackle it. So this is about my study, and also I conduct some project. For example, in my institute, I conduct a COP project. Now, tell you a secret, don't tell the others. My university become the second in Asia. You know why? Because they employ many international professors to the institute, and they bring in the publication and project.
Wow.
The second one, encourage me or our college to publish many paper to write to bid project, so that our QS ranking up. But there is an opportunity cost because we are the larger, the bigger teacher you capture. Don't let my boss go, okay? And the strategy is to buy in capital, human capital. But the trade-off may be the student learning. But the new professor may not be a teacher. They may not be a teacher educator. They only they may not have school experience. They don't have experience in teaching. But we want them to conduct field experience. That means to observe the lesson and facilitate student learning. That's the problem. Is that you know that's problem? For me, I want to solve this problem by COP because my boss told me to do it. First of all, first stage, I gather the experienced teacher educator together to share how to observe a lesson. What is a good lesson? How to discuss with the student to facilitate our student teacher for reflection after the lesson observation. The first stage. Second stage, I gather them to tell a story about what is your most impressive story about after you observe the lesson. Are there any problem you have encountered during your supervision? They come together to share. I organize a story circle there. Story circle, that means they listen to the other. Each people have 2 to 3 minutes to explain, to tell a story about every supervision. And then the other listen and jot down a point. After all the participants have tell their own stories, and then they will organize this proceed together to categorize into different streams. Okay, you know my meaning? That means we use story circle to capture the content or the tacit knowledge. Because there may be involved some skill, some tacit skill, and we codify it and then categorize. So we identify many questions and also many answers. And then we use another thing is knowledge cafe. Knowledge cafe, actually they have a cup of coffee. For example, this time we set up 3 questions. For example, how to minimize the discrepancy on FE assessment between field experience supervisor and the student. How to help students to bridge the teaching theory and real practice of school. These 2 questions captured. We use a knowledge cafe, come together, for example, 1.5 hours. We have 3 rounds. The first round, each group spend half hour into different questions. We have research assistant there to capture. Okay, and then so they can share what they experience, and they may give potential solution to address the question. Sooner or later, we have captured all the tacit knowledge into a field experience guidebook. The newcomer, the non-education professor, can use this guidebook to read this guidebook, try to carry out the FE supervision. You know what I mean? I'm using this project to capture the tacit knowledge and become a guidebook and for them. So maybe we are now using the online video-based learning community for all the professors together. They can give a mark to each other. For example, what do you think the content knowledge, and what do you think the lesson plan and classroom management? And we create a norm in this switch, and then we see what is the larger discrepancy item, and then we come back to the COP and discuss this. But this is what we do in my institute. So I may not have enough time to explain my school project, but I think the VCD can give you some idea. So I skip to the last one, very important. The existing ATCI model. Wow. Actually, I'm doing a research to see whether this Warnacker model can be applied in school. So I spent 2 weeks in Nagoya University and spent 2 weeks in RT University to test this model. In 1994, a book called The Knowledge Creation Company by Warnacker topics explain this model. For me, this model is knowledge management. But this model talk about really important. After I explain the model, I will sort and see whether that collaboration chance or you have formed on my idea. So this can be applied in school. For example, individual and individual, each teacher will go together. They may share their tacit knowledge together. It's called socialization. Each organization have staff. Their staff can go together. We provide an environment to them. So we divide, and then we belong to our department. For example, in English, mathematics, Chinese or physics, science, or so on. Or in university, we divide into different departments: curriculum instruction, administration, philosophy, sociology, depends. With different departments. Our individual attend the departmental meeting. They will share their tacit knowledge into the book knowledge, from tacit to explicit. Then the department have some document to capture it, become explicit. For each department, they come together, become a faculty board or academic board, and then they combine the knowledge. And then when we combine the knowledge, explicit to explicit, we can create a document and a guidebook. And the guidebook can also applied by the individual to internalize the information become the text knowledge. That is the idea of Aronaka. For example, if the school want to develop children with high order thinking, many Taiwan schools do this high order thinking, 高斋思维. How to do it? To talk about高斋思维, sorry, high order thinking. Use problem-based approach. You questioning. You think out. You mind map. So is it work? Okay. In mathematics work. In English work. But in music it doesn't work. Oh, difficult. So the different department will have their own idea on or proposal for this teaching or document. So they come together in an academic board to see which part can be held, become a common practice or generic teaching skill in the school for both children high order thinking. And then this book will be used by individuals. You know my meaning? So actually, lesson study is about these two parts because lesson study is focused on one subject. But if every subject during lesson study, they can combine together to see which part is the most important or critical point inside the classroom observation. So this is the idea of ECI model. I'm doing a project funded by government through my own 2-year project, and I'm now collecting data to whether the school have this ECI model inside. Maybe I stop here for discussion. Okay, Okay, any question or comment for my presentation?
Professor, thanks for your wonderful presentation. And in the beginning, you talking about the difference of school as a business organization. And you mentioned the strategic planning. It's quite different between two different types of school and the business organization. And you think the obstacle based on your past study and past experience, what is the main difficulty of the school to implement strategic planning in school?
Well, your question is about what is difficulty for school to implement. The first one maybe, I assume that they can practice the supervision of the school. Yeah, with a common mission is really important. How to involve teachers in the strategic planning is also important. This is critical point for effective strategic planning. They may encounter this. Usually, this is a common problem. Even some schools are very bureaucratic. Principal and slide principal will formulate in the principal office and then give the teacher. Are you going to implement it? That is included together. So when you consider your strategic planning, you should also consider the knowledge management project in order to fill up the knowledge gap. Actually, doing this strategic planning involves SWOT analysis to identify the strength and weaknesses and environmental scan. So in this process, the principal and the senior management should also consider what is the existing capacity of the staff in order to implement the strategic planning effectively.
I have two questions.
Yes.
First question is story and creation. Are seldom used in Hong Kong's teachers. How do you improve this kinds of situation? It's one first question. The second question is lesson study is Japan's traditional they together and thinking about how to teach. So what's the difference Hong Kong and Japan?
Okay, first question. I'm still working on it. Time is very important, and also what knowledge do we capture is really important. For example, I encourage to at the start to jot down it by point, or use some collaboration tool in order to enhance the working efficiency. For example, using Google document to co-edit a document and then save in the Google Drive may help them to keep improve the working efficiency. And they consider their query knowledge. This is the mindset formula. Actually, they can have many tacit knowledge to solve formula. This will require education. So we encourage them to use some around technology to save time. The other way, on the other, we educate them. they can use some pedagogical skill for teaching. And then the first question. The difference between the lesson study in Hong Kong and Japan is we use variation theory, same model, but we use so-called variation theory. This theory designed by a progression system. We invoke the and test. This is a good question. We need to answer the international debate on whether this model is cultural dependent. Lesson study is cultural dependent. Yes, it's cultural dependent. In Japan, they focus on the process. They want to improve the quality. But in Hong Kong, they want to improve not the student, but the examination result. They are so instrumental. So, when we plan the lesson study, we should consider the root of lesson study is related to improve the national civil, the civic mind of the student. But in Hong Kong, we're going to just like exam driven. So the approach is different. So there's also affect the successfulness of lesson study in Hong Kong. Thank you. If you keep me one day, I can explain in one day. But I don't have time. How about it?
Thank you, Prof, for your presentation. I want to ask, there is a final examination in Hong Kong,
Yes.
and how the teachers doing the teaching strategies in class, I mean to manage the class to make the goal for final examination.
Okay. Now.
National examination.
Okay. This in Hong Kong, they won't classify in the junior high school and high school. They come together as a middle school. So in junior form, they focus on they won't focus on exam. They won't. They focus on how the students can learn better. They are trying to use many pedagogy in junior form. But in senior form, actually exam driven. Usually the teacher will analyze the examination question and customize it into a different topic, and use this topic to drill the student to answer the question. That is the common method. But in Hong Kong, the examination is going to develop into competency based. So we have what do you mean by we assess the competency of the student in writing, in understanding, rather than we remember something. Especially we have a new subject called Negro study, quite new in Hong Kong. Internationalized. The Hong Kong is the first one to have this Negro study to assess student and analytical skill to social issue, social problem, and another politics, economic, and also the China development, environmental protection. It's a quite large, wide scope of curriculum. So you can't study everything, but the training is to see the analytical skill and framework to analyze the problem. So we shift to this area. So we have very difficult to train them. This metacognitive teaching approach to address the issue. can I answer your question? This is a big, may not be related to knowledge management, but I can try to answer your question.
Yes, thank you for your great presentation, bro. I have a question, well, not a question, but what do you think about this case? Because like this, if we compare Asian student and West student, just say Indonesian student and American student. In America, the student like to speak out because the teacher encourage them to have their own mind, to speak out in front of the class, because the teacher already do a problem solved learning and in the kindergarten. But in Indonesia or in some Asian country, still we emphasize on examination, because in Asian country there's they are focused on formative examination and summative examination. It means that the important thing is not about how you speak out in the class in the Asian. The important thing is, can you pass the examination? Right? We emphasize on in examination until now, and it makes the student get stressed. We should pass the examination, but instead it's not. For example, it also influences parents in Asia and in the West. Parents in Asia, they question like this: when the children come home, they ask, "What about your examination score?" But in Asian, even the parents see that the examination score of his or her child is really bad. They would say, "You are bad now." They will say, "Oh, it's good." The important thing is how many questions you have asked to your teacher, and then it makes.
What is your question?
The question is, what do you think? Should we retain this concept? Should we retain this concept to pass the examination, not to speak up? Because I see from your presentation, nowadays we do some problem-based learning, right? But if we still retain this concept, according to PISA program of international assessment, our rank Taiwan is in the 5th, right? It's quite good. So what do you think? Should we still retain use this concept, or we use a problem-based learning?
This is a yes or no. This is a yes or no question, but it depends. Examination have its own values to assess student ability and for improvement in national level. Actually, in Hong Kong, I say that there's the reform, the paradigm shift from remembering to analytical, and also the problem solving ability. We're going on this direction. But the culture, I tend to say, in Asia countries, include Taiwan, China, Japan, Korea, because traditionally our kingdom, the king want people to meet military officer or some officer through examination. The root is there in our value and culture. And people thinking it's not easy to change. Maybe globalization is a better chance for us to understand why Western people have this idea and values. Globalization may cause some improvement of examination system. It's not easy because we will try to. Can I answer your question? It's not easy, but we are moving in the direction that we nurture student ability, whole person development. It's not the problem of school, I think. It's a problem of parents. It's a problem of the force, society, the CEO. What the CEO want? They consider education as a human capital perspective. Using this human capital, education will build human capital to serve the society. So I don't agree with this, totally agree. But education may be I think it's a post-person development. Human development competence is only part. We have moral education. No? For example, leadership. We want moral leadership, ethical leadership. So this question is out of my scope. We can emphasize this answer you. It's very difficult to but we try to move to another direction. And also we treasure the exchange between Western and keep a balance between examination and low examination.
谢谢。
It is another question I think is common because I think Jovan he raised an issue that is interesting, that is about societal culture and relating to your study on the importance of knowledge management in school. What I want to say is in your study you find out that knowledge sharing and knowledge bridging is quite important.
Yes.
And it's more important than IT support.
Yes.
And do you ever think of the study of the causal factors of why teachers in Hong Kong or maybe in Taiwan, why they don't want to share culture in school, or why they lacking the culture of sharing knowledge? My rooted in the Asian culture of Confucianism. Okay, do you ever think of
Yeah,
this?
thank you for your yes. So this, in order to keep this knowledge management work, there's a lot of critical success factors. For example, the leader did this passing this model to be institutionalized in the school, as well as the vision is supported, and also the goal. But actually, it is a culture. That means, do you trust the others? Trust. For example, give you a critical example. Our school is going to close. We will lay off 10 teachers. I know something. Why? Are there any incentive for me to serve the group? So the trust between people is the critical factor. What behind trust? Actually, the culture. Trust means a consistent behavior. We can predict. We can predict people behavior. It is consistent. So it related to the part. That means this is field. In this is Japanese, but in field that means in your setting, in your working environment, the culture. Does it support the knowledge sharing? For example, are there any water cooler there? We can come to, are there coffee machine there? Encourage people to use the coffee machine and take a cup of coffee to share. That is create a bar for knowledge sharing. So in knowledge management, there is a lot of things to consider. Training the knowledge leadership, building a knowledge tradition, and also we should consider the culture policy. Are there any policy or incentive to help them to share knowledge? It's also important. So eventually, just like last night I talked with you, eventually this knowledge creation will become the knowledge assets. So in higher education, we consider intellectual capital will be the next movement after the knowledge management to create knowledge asset.
I think you're talking about how to create a friendly knowledge sharing environment inside school.
Yes, exactly. The leader is important. No bureaucratic. Just practice what Peter Sandy said, team learning, as well as we can create a shared vision with us. As a leader, to create a vision to support it with the teacher. And then we encourage learning. Even they make mistake is okay, because making mistake is a learning process. Making mistake, then you learn something, learn a lesson. It's a learning culture lesson. And also the mental model, I'm talking about Peter Sand, the fifth discipline. It's a personal mastery investment. You should have individualized learning, and also have an open mind, accept people's opinion and tests and share. Also the view of the shared vision, and then have a team learning, 1 + 1 greater than 2. That means that intellect, there's a collective wisdom. And the most important, departmental barriers should be removed, that we can see the whole school as a whole. Not only myself, only my department. To have a system thinking, have a bird eye to see the forest, not only the tree. So in this, if the leader can practice learning organization culture, the fifth discipline there, we can create, support the implementation of the AD ceremony. And finally, I consider what is KM in the school. If the school, we can identify the ADCI mechanism inside, we can say that the school are practicing KM. First one.
可以用中文问的，其实郑老师可以听得懂中文。
不是听我讲得不好。
One question is about Asian research. Asian research in the past few years, we encourage teachers to do Asian research. How about in Hong Kong? Because you have mentioned about Asian research. How about in Hong Kong? Do you encourage teachers to do Asian research? Asian research.
亚洲的
行动研究。
Action research, okay.
Asian research.
Yeah, good. In Hong Kong,
Yes.
yeah, true. Action research is a good opportunity for teachers to refresh on their own knowledge. In our course, many of our courses are involved action research there. It is collaborative action research. They go together to learn how to solve a problem. In Hong Kong, I think not only education, but also in, for example, social worker, for medical practitioner, for management. Action research is a good training method to help their professional development.
Do they get training to do this kind of research? Training.
I think the course the training will embed in the course. For example, give you example. In Hong Kong, there is the primary school curriculum leader. If they want to be the primary school curriculum leader, those senior teachers should receive training. So I'm teaching action research actually. We still have 2 lessons in end of June, so you need to come back to make their presentation. So we train the curriculum leader to identify a problem in school and select solution to address this. Are there any intervention? What method you can prove that we can solve the problem? This training cycle are important. As well as in our principal training, to be a principal, they need to have take 6 courses. This course about 4 lessons, 3-hour lesson, and then they need to do action research on their own career development. For example, they may have some management problem in the school, so identify the problem. There's a mentor, experienced principal to support their learning. So we have commonly used action research approach to support them. But actually, I think collaboration action research approach is more effective because they can exchange the idea.
It's a tool to create knowledge to solve their problem. So what do you think in the future? Knowledge sharing is more important, or knowledge creation is more important?
They are not separate. They are maybe sharing and creating knowledge. They are not separate. Both are actually both are important. No sharing and no creation. Creation is based on sharing. So these 5 processes go together. They combine together. So, but conceptually, they don't consider they are knowledge creator, but it's not the case. So I mentioned that we educate them their new concept.
台生以后问题都问了。
我还没把那个做例子，就现在的 information。
那你要不要先讲？
就
I encourage you by giving you okay.
So I have to think of a question.
Okay, after you will ask me the rest. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I'm not having a question yet. I'm
You
reading
try to
about. I try to
reorganize.
yeah.
Reorganize.
Yeah, and I think that like the taxi knowledge, we have to you have to like having a conversation to have this one, or I mean you have made a lot of teachers to have a video text to have their taxi knowledge, but if not happen in that environment, like not happen in that moment, how can they repeat about the taxi knowledge? How to make them feel like?
Now, there's a good question. My answer is no. If there is no contact, that means the process of socialization cannot be created. In China, 恒吉叫我们读学而无有，不是孟子说了，或者我们就说孟子嘛，读学而无有，这不劳而亡，孔子说，对，但你
孤陋寡闻。
对，啥意思？
就是没有朋友的话，就孤陋寡闻。
That's why this is socialization. Because you study yourself only, you hire yourself in a room to do research. So you don't have any interaction and input. Then you can't create, you can't extract your text knowledge. So people come together in interaction, asking questions is important. Because asking question can stimulate your thinking to extract your text knowledge. So for a leader should encourage the staff together by buying coffee machine to the staff to share. For the teacher individual, try to build a good relationship, have a team to support, emotionally support your only, but also you can have a share group to share your knowledge, to acquire information from and knowledge from the others. So you should have friends. You should have this group, study group. Study group together.
Learning communication.
Learning community. Learning community important. So that's why I propose collaborative action research in that case. You only yourself can't do 3個臭皮匠先可能書房兩件就錯。3個臭皮匠先我中國啦，就是這樣。對不起啊，你們中國的。
没关系，没关系。
中國的機會actually knowledge management derived from 孔子。Thank you.
读学而无有，则孤陋寡闻。
对。
学记里面的学记，一本书学记。
为是学习。
Any questions? If no, we are very impressive speech from Professor Zheng. And this is a small tea from you are going to Ali Mountain. Tea from Ali Mountain. So you do not need to buy sugar, different kind of sugar. You can bring back to Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
I enjoyed today's speech. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can meet again and you come to Taiwan again.
Sure.
Must let us know and visit us.
Yeah. If we can communicate through line or email,
Yes.
or sooner or later maybe we have a collaboration chance together in knowledge management. Thank you.
So now we have a tea break. We can later 11 o'clock we have another
Sudah.